Welcome to the second episode of Botario Foundations. Finally, we will learn how to create our first intelligent chatbot. In the last episode, we covered the real basics. You learned what a chatbot is, you learned how AI systems work, and you also got to know the most basic terms and the vocabulary of the chatbot universe. So now let's apply this knowledge. This tutorial is basically divided into three parts. So at first we'll cover the NLU. NLU means Natural Language Understanding. And we will teach the chatbot how to recognize intents. And this is done, of course, by providing examples. You learned AI systems learn from examples, so we will give the chatbot examples to learn from. And these are called samples. And these are basically example messages that the user might write to the chatbot, and from these the chatbot will learn to predict the correct intents. So all in all, the chatbot will learn how to understand natural language. After that, the chatbot needs to learn how to answer correctly, right? The chatbot can recognize an intent, so now the chatbot needs to give the correct response. And for this, we will create stories and responses. And this can be summarized as the chatbot will learn how to predict the correct dialogue paths. And finally, we train the chatbot and then we test it out. This means we will have a little conversation with the chatbot and see if the chatbot has learned the correct things and if the chatbot can respond correctly. So without further ado, let's head over into the botario platform and start the development. So when opening the botario platform, you should find yourself on the login screen. And please refer to the credentials that have been provided to you by your botario admin. And I will just log in here really quick and you can do the same. So after logging in, you'll find yourself on the dashboard. And please note, botario is a role-based tool. I can access all the different sections right from this view, but if you don't see the same things as I do, this is because you might have different user rights. And if this is the case, please contact your botario admin so you can follow this tutorial. I just click on the little flowchart icon, which says stories. And from here I can create all my content. So just click on new story in the upper left corner and give a name. In this case, I call it greet. And I can click on create. And now I'll find myself in this whiteboard section. And in this section, I can create all my content, and this can be done by drag and drop of the different elements. So let me just show you the different elements that you can use. We have intents that are represented in shades of blue, so either light blue or dark blue. We have actions, which are represented in orange, and we have slots that are gray. But slots are more of an advanced feature we won't cover in this episode, so let's delete this. And let's also delete the other elements, because we will just concentrate on a very simple dialogue. So the first note you should take is every dialogue starts with a start intent. And I double click on the element and just write the name of the intent. And if the intent doesn't exist in my domain, botario will tell me to add this item. And I did so. And now I can provide a description. Well, the description serves multiple purposes, but for now, let's view it as a way to describe really the intent to your other botario developer co-workers so they know what you were referring to when creating this intent. So hello should be enough here. And now I can create samples right in this window. So I give now real examples, hi there, that the AI should take as an example to learn and to understand natural language and to be able to recognize this intent, right? So hi, how are you doing? Howdy. And these are all examples that will be trained into the AI modules. So now we're good to go and we can click on save. And now I can create a story right here. So I drag and drop an action, right? I can now connect the intent and the action. So they are now forming a story. And I can just, again, double click on the element and choose the action I want at this very part of the dialogue. So I just type in the name, and if the action doesn't exist, it is suggested to add this item. And I call it utter greet. Why utter? Well, because it's a bot utterance. And these prefixes just help to differentiate between the different kind of actions, basically. Because you can see we have different types, and I choose template. And this basically means text response, so we can add a message right here. And we can type something that the bot should respond at this very moment in the dialogue. Okay? So I wrote, hello, I am Botario, your digital helper. How are you feeling today? So this is the message that the bot will output. And you can see I can provide all kinds of elements at this part, even rich media, images, buttons, and all this stuff. But let's keep it simple for now. And I click on Save. And now I have created a dialogue. When the user greets, the bot will respond with the text in utter greet. I save the story in the upper left corner, and I can go back to the story overview. And now I create a new story. I call it thanks. I click on create. It's basically the same thing again. So let's go through this one more time, and you should be already able to follow. I create a start intent. I create an action. I link these two. I double click on the elements. I type in the name. I add the element or the item. I provide a description. I provide samples. So in the case, thank you, right? Thanks. Cool. Thank you. Just the different ways how user might respond at this very moment. Thank you very much. So that should be enough. I save, double click on the action, and again, I type in utter thanks. So this is a response for the user saying thank you. And again, I can add a message, and I just type in glad that I could help. And maybe I can give an alternative answer, like you're welcome, right? So now I have two different answers that are sampled randomly, so it doesn't sound so robotic. And I go back again to the story overview, add another story, and we call this bye. So this is a story for the user saying goodbye. And I drag and drop the elements, I link them, I double click on the element. You know the workflow, right? So now I can give a description, goodbye. I can add samples. And this helped the AI recognize the intent, in this case, bye. So different ways how the user might say bye-bye. And we can click on save, and we double click on the action, and again we type in the name, in this case utter bye, it's a template, add a message, and the message will be, oh, you are leaving. Oh, one quick note is if you have another browser language, especially German, the elements might be named in German, so just concentrate on the order. In the dropdown, for example, template is the top element, so it will be called text antwort probably. Just a quick note for my German friends. All right, but we have created the second dialogue, the third dialogue actually. So let's save this as well. And now it's time to train the chatbot. This is done by clicking on the icon in the middle, the tools section. And we see we have a drop down in the upper left corner, and we can now start the training. And we can see some output, right? We see that this training is starting, and I mean, you can pay attention to the details here, but you do not need to. So let's skip this. And the training is finished. And if you want, you can always pay attention to one important message, and this is your RASA model is trained and saved at a certain location. And this just helps. And we can see we trained NLU and the core model, and now we are sure the training has ended successfully. And now we can just start our bot. So these two buttons, they might be turned off in your case, but nevertheless, the new model is always loaded by starting the chatbot. And this is done from the off state, so the buttons should be red. and now you start them again. And this will load the new model. So whatever is the new model, it will be loaded right now. And again, we have some terminal output, and it takes about 10 seconds to load the model. But when we see a certain message on the screen, there will be no more terminal output, and we can be sure that the new model is loaded. And this message will be, let's wait for it, there. Rasa's server is up and running at the bottom. We see this, and there's no more output. So now let's click on the upper right corner on the chat icon and try our assistant. We say hi, and we have the correct answer. We say thank you. The bot corresponds correctly, and we say bye. And the bot says, oh, you are leaving? Well, have a nice day. So this is pretty cool. The bot can understand us. But you see, at the first response, we are asking a question. The bot asks, how are you feeling today? And we do not really respond to this, right? We just say thank you, and this doesn't make any sense. So maybe let's create a more context-based dialogue, because the bot is asking how are we feeling. So let's jump over to the section where we created the dialogues and add some more details to this dialogue, right? So how are you feeling today? I mean, I can respond in two ways, right? I can say I'm feeling good, or I'm feeling bad. I have a bad day today. So let's create intents that will help recognize these two moods. And because it's not a start intent, right? We take the dark blue item, a normal intent, and I create a split, right? So you can go left or right, and the first will be good. This is for all the cases where the user is responding, well, I'm feeling good. And let's give samples for this, so the AI can recognize this intent. So, good, I am feeling good. I am feeling good, thanks, right? So now you see we put in some words that are also occurring in other intents, but the AI should be able to understand what's important in this message, right? And the important thing is, in this case, I'm feeling good. So I'm feeling great, thanks, I am feeling great. And we're good to go, I think. We save this. And now we create the same, but for the case of a bad mood. So the description will be, I am not feeling good, right? And again, we need to add samples. AI learns from examples. So we enter, I feel bad. I am feeling down. I feel like today is a bad day. I don't feel good. So this is a negation, you see this? I say I don't feel good, and the other samples were I feel good. But the AI should learn how to pay attention to the most relevant parts of the message, right? So I don't feel great is another example, and I think we're good to go. Let's save this, and let's create two more actions for either case, right? So in the one case, the bot will respond to the user saying, I'm feeling good. And the bot should also be able to respond to the opposite. So I type in utter good. And this will be the message for the bot being happy for the user, basically, right? Because the user is feeling good. So the bot's saying, I am glad to hear that you're feeling good. I think it's that simple. We can save this. And in the case of the bad mood, let's maybe give the user something to cheer him up. And again, we add a template and a message. And we say, oh no, here is something to cheer you up. And then we provide an image link. And we enter into, so this is being copied from any website of your choice. It should point to the image source, right? And then I can click on the image tab right here, provide a title, puppy, and enter the URL. In this case, it's a GIF, so you can see the preview directly here in the editor. So let's save this. And finally, we can order the items, of course, and we can save the story, right? And then we can head over directly into the tools section and just train our AI modules again. And the AI modules now will take the new content as input and learn once again how to behave. And we skip this. This takes a few minutes, so boom, there we go. And now you remember you need to restart the services. So if they are on, turn them off and on again. Or if they are off, just turn them on again. And this will load the new model. And we remember this takes about 10 seconds or so. And we just wait for the magic message that says Rasa server is up and running at the very bottom. Now we don't have any more output in the terminal. So now let's chat. And I say hi. Okay, we got the right answer. And the bot is asking. And I say, I'm feeling good. And the bot is corresponding correctly. And now I say hi again. And I say, I'm feeling bad. And the bot says, oh no, here's something to cheer you up. And we see the image. This is nice. And can the bot also recognize negations? You know, we entered some. And I say, I don't feel good. And we see the bot can perfectly understand this. So as you can see, you learned how to create a chatbot that can respond to certain things. And the chatbot can also follow a more complex dialogue where you have a split based on certain conditions. So I really want to say you should practice this on your own, right? So you could go just into your botario editor and create some more dialogues that basically behave the same, and you will be up to speed in no time in creating such dialogues. So thank you very much for participating, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.